Wilmington.
All right, welcome back, everyone, to Good Morning Wilmington. Our next guests, LaToya and Jose Rodriguez from Millennium Marriage. Welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome. And you know, I've been saying it all wrong, and it's millennium, not millennial.
It's all right.
Yes.
All right.
It's okay.
Okay.
We'll
Sorry
talk a
about
little
that.
bit more about that too.
Okay.
So it's
Right.
okay.
All right. Okay. So let's. How did you come up with the name?
So we actually started out as millennial marriage because
Okay.
in our minds we felt like, you know, our generation and younger, we could
Right.
really support and encourage in marriage. And as we started offering services, we started getting feedback from all generations saying, hey,
Okay.
we're dealing with the same things. We want support too.
Right.
And that's when we changed it to Millennium Marriage. And our
Okay.
tagline is a marriage that lasts a lifetime.
Yes.
You know, so that hence the name Millennium.
How old were you? How long? Not how old. How long y'all been married?
So we've been together for 24 years.
Damn.
And
You weren't ready.
That's a beautiful thing,
stay
by the way.
together.
That was a
What's
good
y'all, like,
that was a good
kindergarten?
reaction. Just so
Y'all
you
in the
know.
sandbox, and y'all was like, you know, when you like,
We
you
appreciate that. We
Yes,
Yeah.
no.
That's a good reaction.
high school sweetheart.
Yeah.
Well, my
Oh, I
senior
love
year in high
that.
school.
Okay.
she
Okay.
stalked me, but
She's
it's okay.
talking.
That's
Right,
That is
homie,
not
right.
the story.
Two
Right.
sides of the story.
Right.
All right. Well, I'm gonna have you step out. We're gonna hear your story,
Okay,
and then
exactly.
we'll switch, and then we'll get back to the interview.
But-
so you guys met?
Yes,
How many years ago?
In high school.
Okay.
20
Something.
I mean, our
2000.
early on in high school, early 2000s. And then we've been together for 24 years, married for 14.
Okay.
And through all of that, we kind of, you know, the trials, the tribulations that you go through in relationship.
Yeah.
We've learned how to navigate a little bit, that we had to go through the struggles.
Yeah.
So we decided that people are going through those things and they go into marriage and they're not prepared. You know, we really don't know what to expect once we say I do.
Right.
So we decided to create Millennium Marriage. And
And what do you do?
so we are ordained officiants.
Okay.
We do marriage coaching.
Okay.
We have
Date night
date night
events.
events. Yes.
So really anything that encourages healthy marriage, right? From beginning to end, one-stop shop. We want to help you understand what marriage is about, right,
Okay.
as you're preparing for it. There's a recent study that says over 72% of couples going into marriage really had no idea of the commitment and what it takes for a marriage to succeed.
Yeah.
So we wonder why the divorce rates are so high, or why people just aren't getting married anymore, because they see in the media, they see divorce, they see unhealthy relationships, right? But we want people to know that healthy marriage is attainable,
Yes, it is.
and you just have to work at it, just like anything else.
So let's go back to, because you're absolutely right. Right. A lot of people get in marriages and they don't realize when they marry it because, oh, he looks cute. You got a washboard stomach, or you bow legged. You know.
Then a couple years
Then
down the
they come
road,
in, right. Or the dad bod show up.
Yep.
You know, what is marriage about? Let's start there.
Well, for us, we have 3 pillars that we really emphasize when it comes to a healthy marriage, right? So number one is really our spirituality.
Okay.
For us, we focus on a Christ-centered marriage, right?
Okay.
We believe that, you know, spiritually, when you really are striving to be better as an individual, then you can also be better together as a unit, right? But you each have to have that own individual journey, right? The other part is communication. Communication is our superpower, and that's in any relationship, marriage or otherwise, right? So we really focus on how to communicate effectively, not because communication, you can do it, but that doesn't mean it's effective.
There you go.
Right? And the other part of that is that humility leads to breakthrough. Because really, when it comes to divorce, a high rate of divorce, when you get down to the root of it, it's based on pride. Right? Neither or one or the other did not want to kind of step back and take a look at how can I make a
Right.
difference, right? How can I focus on the things that I can improve so that can improve our relationship as a whole? It's always a you mentality. And we really want to encourage people to understand that marriage is one of the most sacrificial things that you will ever do. So if your mentality is all about me, which I'm not saying self-care is not important, right? And standards are important. But the reality is marriage is about servitude and serving each other.
That's some really good advice, and I'm sure our listeners are really appreciating that advice, and I'm sure they've been told that over the years. But I feel that most people forget because life takes over. The normal daily stressors of life, family, friendships, you name it.
Absolutely.
Work, it's normal. But I think that advice is, it's not like but it's spot on, but it's not like it's new. This is not new. This is something that I feel that people just need to be reminded.
Right.
So how do we remind couples? How do we remind them? What do you offer to remind them?
Well, I'll say, and I'll let you get more into this. If you look at our titles, we are marriage coaches.
Yes.
Right? And there's something behind that. So I'll let you kind of get
So we both coached throughout our years basketball. I still currently coach, and as a coach, we are to refine the skills that are there. So those skills are there. We all have those abilities. We just really want to intend on helping you build on those abilities, how to use them in what situations that they need to be used, and when the pride has to be removed, when the communication has to be better, how we need to communicate, knowing each other's communication styles, because that's a big part. Knowing each other's love languages. Love languages are a really big thing. You hear it all the time. Everybody knows about the 5 love languages. But they are really huge because we love the way that we want to be loved, but that might not be the way our partner wants to be loved. So
effective communication, back to effective communication.
Absolutely, it really, and we say it all the time. We have a podcast as well,
Okay.
and on the podcast, I think every episode at some point it comes back to communication. It always comes back to it, because if I'm not loving her the way she needs to be loved, I'm doing a disservice to her, and I'm not helping build our relationship together. I always say, like, for the men, it's a cheat code to know your partner's love language, because you're filling that love bucket.
cheat code.
No, because I'm not going to say nothing crazy, because I promise. I'm not going to say nothing. No, because you said love language twice, right?
Yes.
And I want to make sure that our viewers understand what love languages are.
Yes.
That's all. See, I'm not going to say nothing crazy. So if you could, before you finish, just tell people what love languages are.
Right.
Yeah, I'll jump in here. So there is a gentleman named Gary Chapman, and he wrote a book called The 5 Love Languages. There's also a quiz that you and your partner can take that helps you determine what is your love language, right?
Okay.
So there are 5 acts of service,
Right.
receiving gifts, quality time, physical touch,
And
words of affirmation.
Okay.
Right?
Right.
So each of us, we all have some of that,
Yeah.
but there are some that take a higher priority. So when
Right.
you go online, you take the quiz, it's a free quiz, and it kind of gives you an idea of where you fall based on your responses. So like he said, it's innate in us to love the way we want to be loved, because that's our expectation. But I'll use us as an example. His top 2 are physical touch and words of affirmation. They're my bottom 2. So it's not natural for me to give him words of affirmation. It's natural for me to want to spend quality time. So I'll just sit here and look at you, and he's like, you want to talk about something? I just want to be here with you,
Right.
Whereas that makes him uncomfortable.
Should couples talk about that, like,
Early.
early in the game?
Oh, yeah.
Early.
Okay.
When you're dating, I think a lot of times in the dating scene, we forget what the end goal is, right? You have to determine for yourself, what is your end goal, right? Some people don't want to be married, and that's okay.
Right.
And it's not for everyone. It's definitely a mindset.
Yeah.
But if that is your goal, you have to go into your dating relationships understanding this is my goal, so that we're on the same page there. There's
Right.
that communication, right?
Yeah, effective. Right.
Communication, right?
Right.
Because if we can communicate those things and we're not on the same page from jump, there's no need for us to continue, right?
Right.
Absolutely.
Right.
But even having those conversations about love language, you don't have to get so deep. It's a simple conversation. I enjoy going out. I enjoy receiving gifts. Well, I'm not really a gift giver, but, so those conversations really open up the spectrum to really help you understand what the other person's goals are. Are you on the same pathway? Are you even in the same book?
Yeah.
Because if not, it's
Right.
like, what's the purpose of
Yeah.
it?
No.
I think every couple out here needs like a sheet, like when you go to date.
Right.
Like,
Checklist.
do you like, yeah, check.
Yeah, it's a checklist. And there's nothing wrong with that. I think that's also something else that we have to talk about is that it's okay to have this conversation. I think most people are afraid.
Yes.
I really feel like I go back
Why do
to
you think they're afraid, Vin?
they're scared that they're going to, scare the person off that they're dating. We're talking about just dating. And
Yeah.
I think that's where it really starts.
Absolutely.
Being comfortable having these conversations in the dating part of before marriage,
Right.
Right.
when you're starting to date. I think most people may be afraid to have the conversations about love language and what's the end goal. I feel like that should be right at the beginning. And some people are afraid or they're insecure.
Yeah.
And they're not sure. And I get it. It does take a little practice to get there.
Right.
Absolutely.
Now, do you offer coaching for individuals who are not married yet?
So engaged couples.
Yes,
Engaged. Okay.
And married, so preparing for marriage. In the future, we would also like to offer some services for singles.
I think that's great.
Yeah.
That's where it starts,
That's
building
where
that
it
strong
starts.
foundation
Yeah.
from the beginning.
Absolutely.
So they're comfortable and they're confident because building that confidence when dating is already scary.
Oh, yeah.
Dating is
Right.
scary.
Yeah.
And I remember like it was yesterday when I first started dating. By the way, I started dating a very later age. Dad did not let me.
No, Pops wasn't letting
No,
that.
there was
He wasn't letting that happen.
There was no
Right.
out.
He was
My
just,
first date, my brother was right there.
Right.
My older brother was right
Right.
there. But going back to it, I remember feeling scared
Yeah.
and not knowing what to say, communication, not knowing how to say things, expressing myself. And it does take some practice and building that confidence. But having someone to at least coach you and guide you, I think is key.
Yes, and there are two different seasons when it comes to singles. You really have to be, like you said, there's some insecurities there sometimes. You have to be secure in your singleness. You have to know who you are before you want to
powerful.
link with someone else.
That's
Right.
powerful.
And many times in relationships, dating, marriage, or otherwise, we want to change or conform the other person to what we want them to be, but we haven't even become yet.
Thank you.
You know?
You better preach.
I agree with you on that one. That's why people conform to the one they're dating. I disagree with that. That's big for me. I'm a firm believer that you need to know who you are first.
That's right.
And be confident in who you are and the person whoever you end up with or you meet, they will respect that. They will honor
Exactly.
that. They will value that. And I think that becomes your partner.
Yeah.
Partner in life, because that's what you're taking on the world together. And I'm a firm
Absolutely.
believer in that. But again,
Yeah.
everyone's different.
Right.
Everyone's different. Everyone has different end goals.
Now this is where I'm
Yeah.
gonna sit up at. You
All
ready?
right,
Yeah.
come on.
All right, Jose,
Oh.
give me 3 tips for women to understand their mate.
3 tips for women.
For women.
Yeah, should we leave the room?
Talk to the ladies. Tell the ladies what they need to know.
Understand that men and women are completely different. I think that's really, the book was out there. Men are from
Venus,
Mars,
yeah.
and women, yeah. So it's so true. Our way of thinking, men tend to be a little more simplistic. We are. Our end goal might be the same that our partner wants us to get to, but the way we get there and our route might be different. The partner has to be okay with that route being different.
Yes,
Because
ladies.
control
We have
can
to be
cause a lot of conflict.
Yes.
And that's one of the biggest things. Also, creating a safe space for your husband to be vulnerable. Creating a safe space for him to share his emotions. And that also goes back to communication. If I share an emotion, what's your response to that emotion? Are you?
She like,
We had to learn.
Is your response going to cause me to shut down and go back into a shell?
Right.
Because for men, we have a tougher time being vulnerable. We have a tougher time putting our heart out there. So how's that response going to be? Also, again, communication. Are you talking at your husband and not to, or your partner and not to your partner?
Right.
Because that can cause a whole nother problem.
Yeah.
We want to be respected in the communication, in our relationship. So how are you navigating that with your partner, with your husband, or your boyfriend?
did he pass the test? Did he hit?
Hey,
That's
and
advice.
listen, I had to learn the hard way. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
experiencing those
Yeah.
moments. And I thank God for him that he's been patient in that way, you know, because we don't come into relationships knowing how to do this.
Yeah.
You know, especially like you said, if you're young, just dating, you're trying to figure it out as you go along.
Yeah.
So we really have to give each other grace
Thank
and really be willing to step back and say, okay, what am I willing to compromise on?
Right.
How can I support them through this? And I'll say he's done a great job of that because, listen, the communication thing is not my thing.
Right.
Okay? And now you can't shut me up. It's his fault.
It's his fault.
But
You done created a monster.
Created a
Sorry.
monster.
You're a monster. Right.
But it's mine.
Yeah.
I'm happy
That's
about
right.
it.
Where can people and where can people tell people again before we wrap up where they can find you?
Yeah.
Your social media, Spotify, whatever. I heard you say you had a podcast.
Yes, so our website is www.millenniummarriage.com. Our podcast can be found anywhere you find your podcast, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all of those. It's called the Millennium Marriage Podcast. And yeah, visit our website. We have some date nights coming up. We have some coaching opportunities. Deal going on right now for wedding officiating. So yeah, we hope to hear from
We
you
have a
soon.
book coming out
Ooh,
soon.
we
I
do
was
have a
just
book
going
coming out.
That was literally on my mind. I said, they should have a book out.
Yeah,
So
Absolutely.
so the book
Stay
is,
tuned. That is in the
works.
works. It will be out shortly. I don't want to give an exact date, but within the next month, you can expect a book on our favorite topic, communication. So we
right.
want to start there. That's the groundwork starts there. So.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Latoya, I'm going to ask you first.
Okay.
Then I'll ask Jose. What piece of advice, what's the secret to marriage? What piece of advice would you give, real quick?
I would say the secret is compromise. Compromise. We all want things our way, but we have to be open to understanding that our way isn't the only way. And if we are focused on oneness and not being right, then we will get to our destination quicker.
Okay. Jose?
Pride.
Ooh, good one.
If we can both remove our pride, communication will be better, relationship will be better, everything, you'll continue to grow.
Yeah.
How about
Ivan?
you?
Oh, I have one.
Go ahead.
Forgiveness.
Absolutely.
Forgive quickly.
Absolutely.
Communicate, but forgive
But
quickly.
forgive quickly. Yep.
Oh, you're looking at me.
Yeah, come on, Ivan.
I think honestly, I would have to say, it would have to be willing to grow, right? A lot of people marry people that been married for over 10 years, and maybe even today they get married because of what it looks like, right?
Yes.
Of I like the way he look, I like the way she looks, and then realize that, you know, it's much more to it. Like you said, it's a lot to it, right? And you have to figure out, like, what is this long haul? What is it? You know, you get married, and my thing is, I used to say all the time was, people get married out of the vanity of it, right? But when the rubber meets the road, you know, people outgrow clothes, furniture, this and that, and you make vows based on something that you see.
Yep.
And then when 10 years, 20 years, or something happens and a person, one of your loved one catches cancer or you know, catches this or whatever, goes broke or whatever, now people tend to hold things against, you know.
Absolutely.
So it's you have to be open and like go back to the very basics and sit down and say, hey, this is what I like, this is what I don't like. This is a deal breaker.
Yep.
You know, this is. I remember it was a show, and I can't remember the name of it, but they treated marriage like a business contract. They went in and she said, I want a park house. I want a place on Park Ave. Is that a deal breaker? I want this. I want 4 kids. He's like, I don't want 4 kids. I want 1 boy, 2 and 1 boy. And they in 30 seconds they negotiated their whole wedding.
Wow.
It was like, well, this ain't gonna work,
Wow.
right? Because they was upfront. And you can. It was meant to be funny, but it also has some truth in there.
Right.
So I think that my thing is, people need just to be upfront and be like, this is what I want. This is what I need.
Right.
I'm with the compromise a little bit, right? I'm with it a little bit.
Right, because you still have your values.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
And I remember our earthly kid said, why should I compromise? This is what I want. This is what I deserve.
But it's
Right.
okay to bend a little.
Yeah, you
it's
can bend.
okay to
Right.
Yeah,
be
you can bend.
flexible.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's
Bend.
really about understanding the reality of who we are. We
Yeah.
are all humans, so we're not perfect. So I can want what I want,
Right.
right? But the reality is, we all need grace to grow
Thank
and
you.
learn
Thank
and
you.
to build into who God created us to be.
I like
So
that.
until we can get there, we have to work together to encourage each
Y'all
other.
might have to stay because we might have to shoot the
Yeah.
podcast our damn self.
I mean, let's
All right,
go. Let's do it.
because we got the mic set up. All right, look,
I'm gonna write that
Yeah.
down. You all need grace to grow.
Grace to grow. That's a
to
shirt.
grow.
That's a
Grace
shirt.
to grow.
All right, thank you so much
Thank
for
you
coming.
both for
We
having
appreciate it.
us.
Yes.
For more
You guys are
information,
awesome.
go to millenniummarriage.com.
Yes.
All right, and you can follow them on IG, Millennium Marriage.
Yes,
Instagram, Facebook, Millennium Marriage.
Yep.
And I see your Facebook group is popping over there.
Yes, we just opened that this past week. So
Okay.
we have a private Facebook group. If you're engaged, married, and really want to engage with us and get some tips, join our Facebook group.
That's right.
All right, perfect.
Thank you. Great
you.
conversation.
All right. What's up, everyone? It's your main man, Big Ob, the talk of the town, Mr. DETVCH.com, and I'm here with my wonderful and amazing co-host.
Vincenza.
We just stopped by to tell you to be sure, if you want any information on what's going on in Wilmington and to meet some dynamic people doing some amazing and great things, be sure to watch us live on Good Morning Wilmington on Mondays and Wednesdays at 10 p.m.,
Oh, Ivan, 10 a.m.
which he said 10 a.m.
Listen to me. That's why he has me here. But yes, tune in live, 10 a.m. Monday and Wednesday on Good Morning Wilmington.
DETVCH.com.